they could do. So I assure you that I'm not going to make fake promises. I know what is happening in the Obidient family, and we're going to work hard. We're going to work as a family. You know, I can't preach. Like when I came to Anambra State, I kept telling them, I can't do all this and come and fail. It will be, you know, people didn't vote for me on the 25th of February. They didn't vote for Peter Obi. They entrusted their hope on me. And you can't dash their hope. It was like going to a bank to
as a governor, people will really need to be hearing from you. So probably when you say bi-monthly, hopefully we can really have that these spaces bi-monthly. It's going to be very, very helpful for the Obidient movement. But let me allow the remaining speakers up here to ask you questions real quick. One questions each, please. I think I'm going to take a lady, my sister Pearls, another strong voice and strong advocate for the movement, and one of your strong disciples. She's up here also. Pearls, let me bring you into the conversation now. Good afternoon. Big good evening, my sister.
Okay, good afternoon, Saddam. Thank you very much for this space. Good day, David. Your Excellency, it's very good to see you here on this space. And what I have is a comment, not a question. This is something I said to you when you came here to the US in one of your meetings with the Obedience, and I'm going to say it here again. Your Excellency, I just want to say thank you very much for who you are. Thank you for stepping up to contest. And you've given a whole lot of Nigerians hope that Nigeria can actually get better. Because trust me, before you came out, sir, a lot of people had lost hope that anything good can actually come out from Nigeria. So coming out to contest gave a whole lot of people hope. Thank you very much, sir, for changing the dynamics of the Nigerian political space. You know, so prior to the elections, I had Twitter spaces where I had over 15 commissioners that worked with you as governor, including people like Professor Stella Okuna, and they all had wonderful reports to give about you as governor of Anambra State. So I was actually looking forward to having you as president. I know you are still going to become our president. We look forward to recovering our mandate, and we're not losing hope. Like someone has said here before, we're going to be with you. You're not going to go to court alone this time around. You have many people like me, Saddam, a whole thousands of Obedient standing for you. We are with you, sir. We just want to say thank you. We appreciate you. We love you. And keep being who you are. Just keep being who you are, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, my sister. And you too for what you're doing by believing in what we're doing. And like I keep saying, if there's anything you think I'm doing wrong and everything, please be able to voice it out. Let's discuss it. You know, I want to learn as well. You know, there's a lot I can learn from all of you on how we can do it better.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Batunde, you've been here for long, so I don't know if you want to ask a question or a comment. You have the space, sir. Now. Good evening.
Good evening, Saddam. Thanks very much. Thank you very much, everyone, for being so steadfast. Your Excellency, Mr. Peter Obi, I want to thank you for being as steadfast and as persistent as you have been in this fight. I want to thank you for your courage, for your grace under fire. You've been just fantastic and exemplary to those of us who are politicians and millions more who were not politicians but are now politicians because of you. The question I wanted to ask is more of a developmental question. In view of the huge debt overhang, and in my opinion, the deliberate plunging of Nigeria into needless debt over the last 8 years, Do you think, sir, that once the mandate is recovered, because I believe that by the grace of God it will be recovered, do you think that we will have enough to fix our specifically transport infrastructure problems? Because I personally believe that our GDP is, the reason our GDP is low is because of the relatively poor transportation infrastructure that we have, both roads and trains and water transportation. We just seem to be determined not to maximize what we have. We haven't even finished trading within Nigeria itself. The volume of trade inside Nigeria, in my opinion, is very, very low because of our transportation problems. Thank you, sir.
Well, I will differ a bit with you. It's not just trade. The level of productivity is very low. That includes what you said, volume of trade, volume of transportation infrastructure, everything is low. And like I said before, let me tell you about debt. There's nothing wrong with debt. It is what you use the debt to do that is a problem. All the G7 countries that you see that are meeting, and they call them the 7 most developed economy. None of them owes less than 70% of its GDP. To the best of my knowledge, unless it changed yesterday. America now, with about 25 trillion GDP, is battling with that 1 trillion debt. That's the biggest economy. Followed by China in size, but China is low when you compare to per capita. So I'll say followed by Japan. And Japan is going to over 30% of their GDP. The difference is that the debts in these 2 countries, Germany, Britain, are invested. The people know where this money, is invested. They're invested for the benefit of the people. Ours is that it is all about consumption. When you borrow for production, you're going to get the benefit. When you borrow for consumption, you've thrown it away. And that is where the problem is. So we're almost at a debt of over nearly 40-50% of our GDP without anything to show for it. When Japan is owning over 230% of their GDP, everybody knew that this ballooned when they were trying to save their economy during the financial crisis. And today, Japan is still the highest holder of US treasuries. So they even have some invested. We don't have that. If we become productive, you start pulling people out of poverty, you generate more money, and with that, you start again reducing or managing your debt. Let me give you an example. Our debt today is about 80 trillion, which if you use the official rate, call it $200 billion, which is about 50% of our GDP. But I can tell you, if you borrow, if we're able to invest another 50 billion properly, in critical areas of development. You can have your GDP, you can have a growth of over 6%, up to 7%, which can now bring you within a short while to a GDP of 600, which will increase your per capita debt. That is down to 100. You take another thing, your debt has into where it is almost maybe 6% of your GDP. In fact, if you borrow 100, you are 75%. But if you increase to 600, it comes down to 50. Last 100 you borrow, you've invested it properly. If you throw money today, we can generate more money today from agriculture. It's like when people talk about this issue of rate of exchange. You can strengthen your money today by doing more exports. What drives the exchange rate? Your reserve. What drives your reserve? Export. Nigeria is a country, if you use 2021, because 2022 we are still looking at the numbers. In 2021, our export was 18.9 trillion, which at 650 is under $30 billion. When a country like Vietnam, within the same year, exported over $350 billion, our own is including oil. Vietnam own is 90% manufactured goods. Vietnam, 100 million people living on 1/3 of our land, because they live on 331,000 square kilometers and we live on 920-something thousand. So they have 1/3 of our land, half of our population, and their export is over 10 times ours. If Nigeria today can double its export alone, you will increase our reserve, bring down our rate of exchange, and if you continue investment in critical areas, our GDP will grow, your per capita income will grow, you pull more people out of poverty, you earn more revenue, because one of the problem of government today is revenue mismatch. You can't earn more revenue when millions of people are in poverty. The more you pull people out of poverty, the more you increase productivity, the more you get more revenue to do government job instead of borrowing. And if you continue to invest in the right direction, the more you continue to turn around the country. And that's what we're doing. So that's why I plead with you. Do not be bothered. Don't lose hope about what is going to happen within the week or anything. Let us remain law-abiding, remain peaceful, watch what is happening. People will try to do it. And I'm not saying that those who are going to come in are not going to do the right things, the wrong things. But remember what I said. The process through which people arrive into office, for me, is somewhat fundamental. Somebody can go to exam, do exam malpractice, copy pass, come out of school, and become the best entrepreneur, become the best of become the best of everything. For me, let's get the right things right. Let's get things right. Because that's what the children, that's what the young ones are going to look at. We now have people in primary school and secondary school belonging to cults. Belonging to cults. That is unbelievable in our country. Why do you think they're doing that? Because they've seen their parents do the wrong thing. We must stop that. And that's where I am. And that's why I plead with you people, please, as we go through this pain, let us stay together. Let us vow to do the right things. Let us vow to do that people should have the right character. We want to see the right people where people can tell us who they are, the background, live the normal life. Nobody is a saint. Nobody will claim to be one. I don't. Maybe I've made some mistakes in the past. Maybe I've done some things wrong. Maybe I've done this. But like I always say, I can't say I've knowingly done this thing, which is wrong. I can't say, oh, I've given this resources to manage. Somebody asked me a question about a month ago. He said, Peter, supposing tomorrow we found out there's a place you stole 10 billion of Anambra money. And I said to him, you will never find out. He said, I said, you will never find out. He said, supposing we found where you stole 5 billion. I said, you will never find out. And I said to him, but let me tell you, remember what I said, you will never find out. You will never find out. But I told him, I said, let me tell you the difference between me and some other people. Assuming I decided to keep $150 million, which I left behind, and I decided to settle myself with 15, I left 150, 135 million. I told him, I said, after all, the law they wanted me to pass, they were to build a house for me in Oka, my village, or Abuja, or 3 places I wanted. And that from what the law says, each of those that would have cost Anambra State about $500 million then. So they would have used about 1.5 billion, build 3 houses for me, buy me cars, everything was to cost Anambra when I was living 2.5 billion.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. Good to be back again. This is Africa's International Online Network, and it's always a pleasure and it's always a joy to be here again. I know I've been here before the elections, and so many things happened. So many things happened. Since on Saturday, I would say most people in Nigeria, they will be wearing gloom faces. All right. People said they cried sleeping, wake up. They cried sleeping. They said crying, and they wake up crying. Well, and in Nigeria, just imagine no celebrations is going on, nothing like that is happening. Damn too bad. Let me please press conference video of His Excellency Mr. Peter Obi. Let me play the video of his press conference today. Okay, let me play it.
Hi people, let me again correct one impression, because I've seen some people saying in the media that I released one news or the other. I have never, directly or indirectly, spoken or released any message since after voting on the 25th. My last comment to the media was immediately after voting on the 25th, and I've never done so until now. So whatever you see in the media, please disregard. It's not coming from me, directly or indirectly. This is my first time of speaking, coming out to the media, and I thank all of you for your understanding. For me, it's a very simple thing, is to speak to Nigerians who on the 25th of February trooped out en masse as committed citizens to participate in what all of us know as what are called existential election for supposedly free, fair, credible, presidential, and National Assembly election. We enjoy, and in all things we give thanks to God. For me, number one thing is gratitude. Gratitude to God Almighty that continue to protect and bless our dear country, Nigeria. Number two is gratitude to Nigerians that participated in the election, answering the call as true citizens in our dear country. Number three is gratitude to those of Nigerians, especially the youth, that believed and worked tirelessly for a new Nigeria, and trusting that new Nigeria on Dati and my good self. I thank them for their hard work. Gratitude to the obedience youths, those who believe that a new Nigeria is possible. And I say to them that a new Nigeria is possible, and we'll work for that new Nigeria that is possible. Their resilience, their hard work for a new Nigeria should not be waned. Daddy and I remain committed to that new Nigeria. I know how they'll be feeling now because of the way the elections have come and gone. The commitment and resilience of Nigerians, even in face of unwarranted barbaric attacks is a testimony that a new Nigeria is indeed possible. I look at people like Lady Jennifer Ifedi, who was stabbed but insisted on voting. And that gives me courage to believe that a new Nigeria is indeed possible. And there's so many other Nigerians. The election that we just witnessed and I could have conducted and results announced as programmed. It is a clear
Vous rêvez d'avoir votre propre entreprise?
vision
Ne rêvez plus.
from electoral rules and guidelines as we were promised.
Do you have any parting word?
This election did not meet the minimum standard expected of a free, transparent, credible, fair election. It will go down as one of the most controversial elections ever conducted in Nigeria. The good and hardworking people of Nigeria have again been robbed by our supposed leaders whom they trusted.
Yeah, so filming this both on YouTube,
However,
Twitter Spaces, and
let me
also
humbly
here
and most
and so we're
respectfully
also
appeal to
trying
all
get
Nigerians to remain
and
peaceful,
get it on. It's been a
law-abiding,
lot of hassles,
and conduct themselves in most responsible manner. Please be assured that Dati and I, and indeed all of us, this is not the end, but the beginning of the journey for a birth of new Nigeria. Dati Mohammed and I remain absolutely undaunted and deeply committed to the project of a new Nigeria that will be built on honesty, transparency, fairness, justice, equity. All the above starts with the process.
So let's just take the moment. I'm sure
the process through which we will come into office.
Be patient. Let's continue.
It's far more fundamental
because we're trying to do this on different platforms and.
Yeah. Good evening, everyone. Good to be back again.
Hazard. So.